Welcome everybody to our Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap scoring, scoring for our eventual ranking of the entire series based on the scores. So we're going to go over 10 categories today, each being worth 10 points. So the score may seem a little different than how a lot of other people would score games out of 100 points, because a lot of Zelda games do get 90 plus on Metacritic and whatnot, IGN. But I think that our method of scoring may hit the games a little harder, but in the end, it'll all make sense once each of the games are scored. Each of us are going to have our own scores for each of the categories, and then we'll average it out and then total it up to 100 points, and we'll see where the Minish Cap is, and then at the end of the video, we'll draw the next game and see which one we're going to compare first to the Minish Cap, and then go from there. And then the following week we're going to do a dungeon ranking for all 6 dungeons in the Minish Cap, and then just kind of rank them and see which ones we think are the best and the worst in the game. So let's get started. Our first category is going to be the stories and the characters. So as we go through each of the categories, we're going to give a couple positives and a couple negatives for each of the categories and spend a couple minutes and then give our scores. So stories and characters in the Minish Cap. Vadi, apprentice or whatever, learning from Eslo, decides that he wants to use this magic cap to
take over the
life force.
He wants the life force to rule the world.
It's something like that.
He already seems to have a lot of power. I don't know any of the life force.
Honestly, it kind of just is shoved in there. It doesn't really explain too much of Vadi's background. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, I want to take over the world. I guess. I don't know. In that cutscene, I don't really feel much. And then the festival or whatever happens, and the sword is brought out for like the winner of the combat,
which we don't get to see.
Yeah, which we.
Where is it taking place? There's no combat.
And then he breaks open the chest with the sword and lets out all the enemies and whatnot.
But you also forgot about Link and Zelda were actually together, and that's part of the story where
they're friends.
You don't really see that Link and Zelda they know each other.
Yeah, and then Zelda's gone for the rest of the game.
So,
she gets
it's a part of the story.
You collect the 4 elements, you upgrade the sword, you fight Vadi and save Hyrule. I guess. Alright, so some of the positives.
I thought Eslo was a good positive to the story.
I liked him.
He is a decent character. It just is kind of annoying when he solves some of the puzzles for you, or keeps on egging you on, like, let's go do this. I kind of like how the reason why Link is sent out to go find the Minish is because only children are able to see the Minish.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I also like how there's different area Minish. Forest Minish, city cool. Minish, mountain
even
Minish.
though it isn't like...
No sky Minish.
They don't have too many different characteristics. I don't know, but okay. Alright, well, not going to try to explain the whole story. This is more of a scoring than a discussion, but I guess let's give our scores out of 10. Alright, Tom. I know it's kind of on the spot.
I'll give it 6.
6? Alright. Nick?
6 as well.
6 out of 10 at best.
Honestly, yeah, I might as well give it a 6 as well.
Favorite number.
Yeah, 6. So average score 6. All right, the overworld. Some of the positives and negatives. Thomas.
Well, the only positive I see is that I do enjoy like this build up to the dungeons, where it's almost like its own little outdoor dungeon.
I like how you can see the what's the ice dungeon called? The droplets?
The droplets. Droplets.
I definitely...
Yeah, I like how you can see it, and you don't know it's a dungeon yet, basically.
I do like that, like, where they give hints of stuff beyond.
Yeah.
That's a good part.
Yeah, I definitely like how you have to traverse to the dungeon instead of, like, solving, like, a roadblock, like in Ocarina of Time, where you have to get, like, the mask for that guard to go up to Death Mountain. I'd rather, like, traverse through the swamp.
Yeah, you're actually experiencing the world.
Climbing the mountain to get to the dungeon. And so, yeah, and then kind of the negatives, it's super segmented.
Not only that,
linear.
but just like the treasures you find, which we'll get into more later, are blocked
Oh yeah,
by Kinstone.
Exploring involves Kinstones because instead of getting an item to unlock, a cave or burning down bush or something, you have to fuse Kinstones. So.
Yeah. But and then outside of the dungeons and the areas leading up to the dungeons, because of the Kinstone problem, I think there's just not much to do outside of the city.
You can't do much until you fuse some Kinstones with some random people. All right, so scores on the overworld, Tom.
I'll give it, just because of the whole dungeon thing, a 7.
A 7, wow.
Yeah. Whoa.
Man.
Whoa, I would not give it I'd give it a 4.
Hard.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, now I think about the segmented part.
Yeah, and
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, the exploration overworld category deserves kind of a lower score. I'll give it a 4 as well. Yeah. Just not the greatest overworld in the series, honestly. So dungeons.
We'll go over it more in detail later, but in my opinion, I feel like they did well with the first 2, and then they got either lazy or just time restraint and just kind of I don't know.
Right. I think
kind of fuddled with the last couple ones.
I like the first dungeon. Second dungeon's pretty linear.
And then the third dungeon. I keep forgetting that one. The third dungeon, which is the fake air dungeon, isn't too bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Water Temple,
I like
it's
that.
really big, but it's so linear.
It it brings back the lily pad, but doesn't expound on it. It doesn't.
And then the item is just a lantern, so that's kind of the gimmick of the dungeon is turning on.
But you don't use it at all anywhere else, and you barely kind of. I know there's one spot where you can get a Kinstone.
All right, and then there's the Palace of Winds, which is another very linear.
It was okay dungeon. I liked it.
It's
an challenge.
It wasn't a challenge.
When we rank it, I don't think it's going to be towards the top. But
I'll give it a 5.
The final dungeon, though, I mean, we haven't ranked them yet, but I personally would put that one at the top. The first half of it is linear, and then the second half, it's branching 4 different areas that you have to explore. Nuts. Yeah, that too. The enemies are more, engaging.
There were no Dark Nuts, right?
Yeah.
There weren't,
and then there were the chain ball dudes. I don't know what you call those, but...
Chain ball dudes.
Yeah. All right, dungeons. Tom, score?
5.
5. All right.
7.
All right. I'm honestly going to say a 6. So, I mean, they're not super creative in terms of, taking the series farther, but I mean, even turning small, I don't feel like it's used that well in the dungeons, honestly. There's a couple that you turn small and then go into the dungeons and then...
But I kind of like that. It's they made new enemies to kind of be these are Minish enemies, these are big enemies. You have to...
the guys from Dr. Mario, that one red, I don't know, that scatters everywhere. He's actually from Dr. Mario, probably.
Yeah, I didn't know what you're talking about, Nick. But we'll talk about the enemies and bosses in a couple of categories here. But now we're on the combat and controls.
I feel like the combat...
Controls are nice.
The controls are nice.
They're fluid,
and there's so much variety with combat, but not a lot of enemies to support it. But in terms of just what you can do with the combat, it's pretty open.
Yeah. Still feel I don't know. Still feels a little slower.
I don't think so, though.
It's not super slow, but it's a little slower than
you can roll.
To the past, I feel.
You can
combat.
Well, no.
I like the scrolls. Those were nice.
The scrolls makes it.
The scrolls are nice, but Kinstones. Yeah, to use it to get some.
This is only combat and control. Okay, we're not talking about Kinstones.
I know, but I have to keep bringing it up because it's related to everything in this game.
But it's an item, basically. So it's not combat and controls.
Anyways, but the variety is dash, into a sword. You can run with the sword. You can jump up, go down with the sword. You can. What else can you do? Let's see.
So there's a lot of variety.
Spin attack, great spin attack, short sword beam at full and at one.
Right. I
which is
forgot
good.
about that. And I guess it is
very dynamic.
Pretty.
It reminds me of.
It's pretty
Dark Souls
good
a little bit,
but
all the way around.
I won't say it's the best combat in the 2D games.
I
won't say it's the best combat in the 2D games,
I'll
but
give it a
I'd say
9.
it's okay. I would give it an 8. Thomas gives it a 9. Alright, now the items.
Okay.
Alright,
I would like to point out like the silver arrows and like the bombs with the detonator.
The remote control bombs.
Both of them are unnecessary. I like even getting the bomb bag upgrade. I never thought I needed that ever. I think I used like.
Alright, even
7
though
bombs,
it's unnecessary to have those, doesn't mean it's bad to have them or in the game.
I never use them.
Okay, well, everyone has a different
play style.
True, I guess, but it's like the silver arrows you need to charge up your bow and then shoot.
That the bow.
The bow in this game sucks.
It sucks. It's slow. I guess I probably should have talked more about it in the combat and control.
Yeah, now I think about
it. When you charge
like,
up the spin attack, it takes so long.
No, not if you upgrade.
Yeah, not if you upgrade.
Alright, not if you upgrade. But even when you like charge it up to whatever split or whatever, it takes a while. Like to charge up that green bar so you can.
But you can get an upgrade on that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I didn't get that far. I thought that was pretty annoying and frustrating, but. It's alright. Alright, that's not even the items. But I guess some of the new items in this game are the Gust Jar.
I hate how bad the bow is, because just like the regular bow even, like, just takes... it's slow and doesn't even do that much damage.
Right, and that's one of your offensive items in the game. And then, like, the Gust Jar kind of is.
Gust Jar is actually
more utility, but you can use it for combat.
I like the Rock's Cape. That's my favorite item in the game.
That's definitely a good one too.
It's so fun to play with.
I found myself
sure you get it
a lot.
At the end, which kind of sucks. The Rock's Cape, but
yeah,
the lantern is almost completely useless.
Well, it's towards the end anyway.
Yeah, and it's towards the end.
Cane of.
So that makes more sense.
The Cane of Pickery.
It's
that one's
it's
fun,
more of a utility
item. But it's kind of like a key in a way.
Yeah.
To a lot of things. I kind of like the idea of turning things over, and they should have done more with that in other dungeons. If we're being honest.
Yeah.
Is turning small an item technically?
No. That's a gimmick.
That's a gimmick. Okay.
Yeah, that's a gimmick.
Trying to think of what else was there. Nothing much.
Yeah. All right.
The claws.
Items.
Claws.
Right.
That was fun to do, but it's almost like just a key
exploration.
again.
Yeah. All right. Score for items. 6.
Actually,
7.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 5. All right. Puzzles in this game.
Not too hard.
Yeah.
Nothing really challenging.
I don't think I got stuck on anything. I don't really know too many positives. I mean, okay, the water.
Most of the puzzles are fusing stuff.
I don't even know if I can say that.
That's not even a puzzle.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
All right, some of the.
It's a joke. I'll give it a 2.
Yeah, no, let's just go.
Some of we can kind of just say that it did not do the best.
We could talk about more in the dungeons video.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Nick gives it a 2.
3.
I said a 2.
2. I'll give it a 3, just because there was some attempt.
Yeah, I gave it some attempt too.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll give it a 3 to keep it even.
Oh my gosh. All right. So so puzzles and Minish Cap. Not
really good.
All right, the enemies and bosses in this game.
Very good.
Once again, so with the combat controls doesn't really like have a good pair with the enemies and the bosses. So for the good combat that it has, doesn't have the good enemies to kind of put 2 and 2 together.
I don't like how there was the first boss as the green slime.
The Choo-Choo.
Choo-Choo.
You didn't like that?
No, and then there was the Octorok guy.
Yeah, so...
And
I mean, it was cool to have it as, like, the first boss.
Yeah, but then as a mini-boss of Electric Choo-Choo as a mini-boss.
It's just a harder
That's
hitting.
typical of Zelda games. They did that a bunch in the first one.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, it was...
At least it was...
It's not a old
At least
Zelda
it wasn't
game.
the same thing. At least it was an upgraded version of it.
That's true. Instead of a same old mini-boss.
Right. I would say that the bosses are better than the enemies, just the normal grunts in the game. The grunts don't get better until like the last dungeon where you get like the dark nuts and whatnot.
Well, I feel like the
Otherwise it's just enemies you kind of run over.
last boss and the third boss were so similar. Vadi and the guy with the 2 hands.
Well, you shoot an arrow at one and then use the cane for the last boss.
Yeah, but you have to go into the hand for both of them, and one's
that
like,
is true.
They could have done
kind
something more interesting.
Right, but they did not make it exactly the same.
Yeah, but I felt like
concept.
So similar to go into the hand of the thing and turning off or killing the stuff inside.
So the grunts in the game are weak. The harder stuff is better. The bosses are overall
weak.
Yeah. They're not the greatest, but
I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
I wouldn't give it so
guess
low. It's because they built a good combat system around it.
Right. I guess I'll just give it a 5. It's kind of in the middle. I don't know. I like the dark nuts.
Yeah.
They are good,
Yeah.
I'll admit.
Alright, so the gimmicks in the game are the turning small, splitting into 4, and kinstones.
And shells.
I think...
Yeah,
I would count shells.
Yeah.
Well, like not...
I mean, it's not really that part of... it's not that much...
But it's like such a big
it's a
thing
gimmick,
that they give a lot of chests for the...
Yeah, but it's
The-
not really part of the core gameplay.
Yeah, it is.
No, but it is like a collectible though. And
It's
that's
a collectible.
gimmicky.
That's a gimmick.
It is part of the gimmick. in my
All of
opinion.
the games have collectibles. I want to consider that to be...
Do we have
One's
the
a trophy
collectibles?
hunt, basically. To get all the trophies. That's a gimmick.
That's dumb.
That is dumb.
It is
I'll
dumb.
talk about
it's
the
a
main...
gimmick.
We'll talk about the main gimmicks in the game, which are
Okay.
the turning small, splitting into 4, and kinstones.
Alright, let's start off with
2 of them are good. One of them is...
I didn't really like the splitting into 4. I think the
Good.
turning into small is probably the best fleshed out gimmick in the game.
The turn into 4 was just kind of there just to be there, because
Right. I don't
for some
think...
reason.
Like, they could have added some of the mechanics from, like, Four Swords Adventures into it and not make them feel so frail.
They were just basically pots to put on buttons
Yeah.
for yourself that you could just carry around.
Right. But the turning small actually
Do you disagree,
does...
Nick? What do you think about the 4
Yeah, that's
random?
right.
I just feel like it's like cool when you move a block and it's like, oh, I need this many.
But they
and
just
then-
use it to be a key, a glorified key. There's better ways to do that.
Or even, like, pushing the large blocks instead of just putting in, like, you know, a power bracelet or power glove. You just split into 4 or whatever.
But then you have to also feel like they're fighting bosses, like with the last or second.
I guess
or
yeah,
technically both last.
they do implement
then that
them
was
into the
really
last couple
good.
bosses.
And once you get the power bracelet, why do you even need the other guys to push the big
Yeah, it has nothing. I don't know. All right, but turning small makes
You know what I
exploring the
mean?
world better. It creates, you know, like this. It's not exactly like going from present to past or dark to light world, but it's kind of like, you know, this extra level of exploration where you have to keep like your eye open for these little holes in the walls or little mushrooms with doors. You know what I'm saying? So it does create. I think that's the best gimmick in the game.
Yeah, it makes re-exploring the world interesting.
You definitely can go back and find stuff that you probably didn't notice just walking through as a Zelda, as a Zelda player, you're not always looking for little cracks or whatever.
Okay, then let's talk about the Kinstones.
Here we go.
Not much to talk about. It just makes exploration stupid.
Did you
It's
feel
just like a very slow fetch quest. It's almost like a fetch quest, but
Except
just really
random.
slow.
Random
For
and
some
slow.
reason, random and slow.
I felt like every single time when I was playing, I ran out of the green Kingstones all the time. I had no green
Yeah.
Kingstones ever.
So
That's why I had to like. try
You had
find
to
it.
grind in order to
Yeah.
go anywhere. You needed green Kingstones to get the red ones and blue ones. I had plenty of those, but I had no green Kingstones to actually do something.
I know, right?
It made secrets not secrets in the overworld.
They're not secrets. They just
Yeah.
show you exact. Well, first, I mean, they need to show you
Right.
what you can stone fuse,
Yeah.
and they're not. It's not a secret. It's
Yeah.
not something interesting.
But-
Well, I'm
to
saying it
stumble
takes the
upon.
secret away from what would be the secrets in the overworld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can tell which ones are like really important, like the gold ones. I thought that was completely dumb.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
There
go.
Well, I'd say like the two biggest stupidest things I'd say is like the town. It's like random, and then also some people you have to go in and out of a building to fuse again. That is probably the worst part.
Yeah, and you can't keep track of who you've fused Kinstones with.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not a good mechanic.
Not a good.
I wish
system.
there's one person that you can trade Kingstones with, and you only have to go to that one person.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
They could have made like a story out of just having one person that you
Yeah.
go
They
to.
didn't
and
need
fuse.
100.
Right. All right. So let's
And
give our score.
last part about they shouldn't have put it necessary behind the light bow and the magic boomerang. I believe.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Like so stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
Although that one
wouldn't
is also
technically
Gus
the
Jar.
mirror shield be one of them?
Yeah, the mirror shield. The mirror shield part is so stupid. Like, why
Yeah.
have it after the game's beat?
That's why I was going to say
and
for
it's
items.
also kind of
and you have
pointless
to
get
get Kingstones in order for the bronze to come.
It's it's not a good mechanic. I think we all agree. All right, let's give our scores on the gimmicks of the game.
3.
4.
All right. The Kinstones really bring it down. Being Minish takes it up for me. I'm gonna have to give it a 5 just because of I do like the turning small does create more opportunities for exploration, but that losing 5 points for Kinstones basically. the split into 4 isn't the greatest, but it's better than Kinstones. All right, so the pacing of the game.
What pacing?
It's a extremely linear
It
game,
holds
which
your
is
hand so
okay.
it's really stupid when you
So it
have to
has-
find the exact person to talk to.
Yeah, that's the part. It's like, really?
Or even when I completed the first dungeon and there were roadblocks behind me, so I couldn't leave the village
That is the
from the
stupidest
entrance.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of crap makes me mad. It's like I want to go this direction and go look over here.
I think, did he forget the heart piece or
I
something like
know.
that?
Yeah,
I
I did.
forgot the
Yeah,
heart,
you.
so I wanted to go
okay,
back
so
and
both
go.
of you forgot the
Alright.
heart piece.
Alright. I would have gone when I started playing. I got it, but
Yeah,
I
but
forgot it.
both like when we were playing together, I got the heart piece, and then Thomas just brought it up too. At that time when we were first playing, that you couldn't go back, which happens a lot more than just the first dungeon. It happens a lot of the other dungeons too.
Yeah.
But
the
it's
pacing
weird
is
that
not-
they want to like force you to follow the story when
Yeah.
there's not even really that much
Yeah,
of
I
a
know.
story.
And then when you have to go like to the haunted forest or whatever, that was kind of random because I knew next I needed to go to the city in the sky or whatever, so that's why. So I like expected that's what I was gonna do next, and then all of a sudden have to go talk to the king or
the
whatever
dead king.
to learn something I don't even remember honestly.
He just gives you a gold kinstone so you can progress for some reason.
yeah. So that kind of stuff that's bad pacing. That just is like an excuse to have this area in the map to kind of fill it in and have some weak little story point. If you have this world that you can openly explore with roadblocks that aren't related to the story. Like, I don't know, that makes a better open world. So yeah, pretty linear road blocking, pacing, not good.
I'll give it a 5.
I'll give it a 3.
Man, this is not good.
I feel like this
I'll give it a
game
3.
is almost like trying to appeal to
It's very much a
kids that are
beginner Zelda
dumb.
game. Yeah,
Or treats the kids as dumb. When it really doesn't need to.
it treats it as if it's your first Zelda game. It's very much
Which
a
could
beginner
have been.
Zelda game. But even then, it's just so linear, and then kids are going to get stuck, and then they're not
On
going
the
to want
talking to the random person
Right.
part, that's the
Right.
stupid part.
Yep. Alright, bonus content in the game.
I guess that's where the shells would come in.
Yeah, shells. I mean, even Kidstones has some bonus content, like leading to the mirror shield.
Oh, the
But
mirror
the
shield.
mirror
Mirror shield is
Why?
pointless. I
It
don't
is
even know
very-
why it was added at all.
It should have been like
The
a
shield is
dungeon
useless
item.
almost.
Yeah, the shield is useless besides starting
Exactly.
turtle enemies.
And then
But
it
then
takes
you get
forever
the-
to like pull
Yeah,
out.
which- then
Hickory
you get-
cane, and then
yeah.
it's done.
Yep.
Do you
I don't
find
know,
it
there's
weird
not
that-
really that much bonus content unless you want to
Get all the
Grind
heart
out.
pieces.
get all the figurines to get the one heart piece. That's the most ridiculous heart piece to get in like the entire series.
I don't even think you can get all the heart pieces until after you beat the game. I think there's one in the house that's locked. Or maybe you have to...
No,
that's the
the-
one with the shells,
yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, that's the one with the shells.
But, what the heck? What the heck?
So there's not really that much like bonus stuff. Not like
It's not
extra
like Breath of the
caves that I
Wild.
can think that you can explore, or an extra dungeon or mini dungeon that is just there for you to.
There's not a lot of games that have mini dungeons after.
Well, there aren't that many games that have optional, dungeons or even mini dungeons. But even
What
just having
game
like
has an
a,
optional dungeon?
I mean, Link's Awakening has the color dungeon, but I mean, it doesn't even have like the combat kind of trial in a lot of newer Zelda games where you fight like an endless horde of.
I guess the bonus content would also be the scrolls. Because you don't have to get...
Right.
But that's
Some,
also combat too.
Well, it's fine with
extra
the both.
combat stuff. But then again, it's kind of feels not that important to get because I
I'll
guess
give
I
it
do
a 4. Or a 3.
for bonus content.
2.
That's it.
There's
Okay,
nothing.
fine, I'll give it
Yeah,
a 2.
that's not really much.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 1.
I'll give it a 2. I mean,
There's something, but
Like
it's
what?
not great.
collecting the figurines, but they didn't really
It's
do that.
something.
It's like... If it would have been easier to collect, they'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool.
All right. Well, our final average score, I was tallying up.
Woo! That's pretty good.
Out of 100
Whoa,
points, Minish
jeez.
Cap, I guess we'll round it up. We'll give Minish Cap a 49 out of 100 points.
That's less than half.
So, obviously, if this was like a test, this would be a failing score.
Really?
But-
Are we?
I would say to be considered a top tier Zelda game, it definitely failed. But I guess we'll have to see how the other games match up when we score them compared to this game. Our highest scoring category for this game was the combat and controls.
That's
and
what
then
brought it up for
the
sure.
lowest being the bonus content, but other than that, it was the puzzles in the game, which kind of, I think puzzles are pretty important for a Zelda game. Just
Yeah.
I think it's one of the more important categories. But I guess the most important category to me is the dungeons, which we scored average of 6 out of 10. So not really the most standout. Honestly, I probably would have given it less, but it's alright. I guess I gave it a 6. They're not horrible, but they're better than the ones in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so I guess Yep, 49 out of 100 for the Minish Cap. So I guess it's time for us to move on to the next game in the series, for us to explore for a couple weeks and go through and complete. And I guess in a couple weeks we'll do the same thing and give our scores in each of the categories for whatever game we're about to pick.
Alright, whose turn is it? Nick, you went first.
Yeah.
I
So
think I've been doing this like multiple times now.
alright.
Alright.
We'll let Thomas pick.
Okay,
I'll-
pick one.
Okay.
Alright.
The original Zelda!
Zelda 1.
Zelda 1.
I think this one's gonna do better than the Minish Cap, I'd
think
say.
really?
Possibly in all the categories, but I don't know yet.
I don't know about story though.
I mean, with what I was working with, you can
Yeah,
still say it
I
has a
guess.
better story and character. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess we'll determine that after we
Yeah.
beat Zelda 1. But yeah, tune in next time. We'll have our ranking video for all the dungeons in the Minish Cap, and then from there we'll score the original Zelda game. That's one of the big ones, honestly, in the series for us to score. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty important game for the series, I guess.
Started it off.
I don't know if I would consider it one of the top tier Zelda games in the series,
Really?
but I would say it could be the most important game in the series. It's the first one, but
I mean, it's pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty good. But I don't know if I would consider it to be a top tier Zelda
I guess we'll
game.
see.
I guess we'll see when we.
I'm guessing it's going to be better than an F.
Yeah, it's going to be better than a 49 out of 100 for sure. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.